Welcome, eyes of the wheel. What does it truly mean to be powerful? To have a true sense of power? I'm going to share with you the one thing that you have to access to have a true sense of power within this world. Now let's start by talking about what power is not. I have contemplated this for a long time because in the culture I grew up in the West, there seems to be a sort of obsession with power and with being on top. And a lot of movies and media and things kind of create an idealistic image or view of what that might look like. And so for myself and many of us, we may have an idea of what we think power looks like. And then we may try to imitate or reach or be around people that seem powerful, thinking that we will become more powerful being around them. Now, what's coming up for me here before I go into what power doesn't look like is, why do you even want to be powerful? Why? Honestly, I believe that the reason is because we want to be acknowledged, we want to be seen, we want to be heard, and we want to feel like we truly matter in the eyes of other people. And we feel like power is the way to achieve those things. If we become powerful, people will listen to us, we will be heard, people will act like we matter, and then when all that external stuff is starting to happen for us, then that voice inside of us that feels that we are unworthy or not good enough will vanish. At least that's what we want to happen or we think is going to happen. That's what I've seen in my own experience. Maybe you have a different answer to the question, why do you want to be powerful? But for me, it was that I thought that the feeling of insecurity within me, of worthlessness, of not being good enough, would vanish if power was reached. Now, you may relate to that. So what we've been shown through movies or media, sometimes around us and people imitating it to be powerful, is the sense of like almost stoicness, of almost no emotion, making really decisive decisions all the time, and people just being in awe of like this magnificent person that seems so powerful. And then we think, oh, we want to be like them. I'm going to say from my own experience, you can take this if it resonates and I'll explain it more, is that is not power. That is not true power. Because if you are making people around you feel less than who you are by your actions or what you're doing or how you're showing up, if people feel worse about themselves being around you and feel like they're beneath you because of what you're putting out there, that's not power. That is actually harmful to others and ourselves on a deeper level if we are showing up that way. Because it enhances our sense of separateness, okay? So from my experience and what I've learned and seen unfold within my own life is that any action that we take as humans that increases the separateness between us, that focuses on our differences, that adds a hierarchy to this person's above, this person is below this person, that whole game that makes us different from each other, the more that we enhance the differences and the separation, the weaker that we all are. Everybody's weaker. We feel more isolated, insecure, we have more anxiety, there's more stress when the differences are focused on. When you feel like you're below somebody or a group, or above somebody or a group of other people, if you're in either of those places, above or below, there's a sense of fragile weakness about that that is not sustainable and that feels off. It doesn't feel good to be below other people. You feel like you're unworthy, you're not good enough. It doesn't feel good to be above other people and to be enhancing that, because then you feel unstable, you're unrelatable, and you find it hard to connect authentically with people. And if you can't connect authentically with people, you feel a deep hollowness inside of yourself, because your whole life is a facade trying to be better than. So let's examine that better than. That's a lot of what power has been shown to us within movies, within media, and society has kind of infiltrated into our minds. And so it's something I've been contemplating over the years. It's like, is that really power? To be really like stoic, emotionless, and to make really decisive decisions that the larger impact of those decisions hasn't been fully consciously, mindfully acknowledged or questioned? Is it really powerful to be in that space where people feel lesser than in your presence? If people feel less than themselves within your presence because you are intentionally trying to appear as above them or powerful, that increases the separateness like tenfold. And that person that is in that stoic, emotionless, decisive kind of like, I need to be powerful and here I am type of person, is actually incredibly weak inside, and they're incredibly insecure inside themselves because they rely on everybody else's appreciation, attention, affection, acknowledgement, and all of that to feel like they matter. If everyone disappeared, then that person that's deemed powerful would completely fall apart, because they rely on the external validation to feel okay about themselves. And that disconnects them from being able to relate to the person that they are so-called leading. And it creates intense separation, envy from the people below them, and a sense of false, like kind of individual high of like, oh, I'm so great within that person that's above. That is fragile and fleeting and completely unsustainable. And it's a whole facade of power within my mind and within my experiences that I've kind of come to realize over the years. The people that have to try to prove themselves or to put on a facade of stoicness or emotionlessness and try to act decisive and like they know everything are actually the most insecure people. The person that feels secure about themselves doesn't have to prove themselves. There's nothing within them that feels the need to prove themselves at all, or to be in a competitive, increased separateness type of space where they're trying to rise above other people. So the whole game is based on a deep sense of, I'm not good enough and I don't feel like my existence is worthy, And so I am going to strive to be this facade of power. And so it's based on fear. The whole thing grows out of fear. And then everybody beneath them feels worse. They feel envious, jealous. They feel their powerlessness. This person is riding on a facade of power. And the whole thing feels really icky and really, really weak and could literally shatter at any moment. There's no like true depth of strength within that model. I'm realizing there was not a lot of proof in real life of this idea of power that we've been shown. I started to question everything. And during my practices, I realized that when I was feeling like weak and insecure about myself more often in my life, I desired the power that we'd been shown. But now, as I find myself feeling a lot more secure and good with myself, I don't really desire that at all, and I see the flaw within it because it creates separateness. Now, the strongest that we feel is when we feel like we're connected and in equality with each other. So what does real power look like? A person that is truly and deeply powerful does not do anything to increase the feeling of separateness between themselves and other people. By that, I mean they don't do anything to appear superior or inferior. They don't intentionally have to prove themselves through trying to be superior, and they don't attach to the feeling that is false that they are actually less than anybody else around them. The person who has true power empowers other people. You can tell how powerful somebody truly is by how people react in their presence. If people react fearful, envious, and like small and more contracted and like they don't feel as good about themselves in that person's presence of power, then we have that facade going on, where that person is riding a false sense of superiority. True power is when everyone in the presence of that person starts to feel better about themselves in the presence of that person. They start to feel more empowered, more understood, and they can relate to that person. That person is relatable. That's true power. And to be able to create a space where people feel safe within your presence and like they can relate to you, and there's an equality that they feel, like you're not trying to be above or below and they don't have to enter that game. They can just be themselves. You can just be themselves. They can just be themselves. Everyone can be themselves. That's where a true, powerful energy is accessed. And the person with true power, in my experience of unfolding this, is somebody that has enough inner depth and strength and enough sense of internal self-worth that they don't need anything outside of themselves to tell them that they matter, that they, their words matter, that their existence means something. They know that within themselves. And because they know that within themselves, they can show up in a way where they can actually meet everybody else eye to eye and be authentic. That journey to authenticity and to be really internally powerful is the hardest journey for all of us as humans to realize. Anybody can fake that stoic, emotionless, decisive unconsciousness of how their actions are really affecting everybody, and then, ride that little game for a while and then fall from it, and maybe even do some damage in the meantime to the people that they were trying to be more assertive towards or be above. It's such a mess, and it's all built on insecurity. When someone does the inner work to find their own inner sense of power, that's the number one thing that I want to share with you that you need to acknowledge and meet and basically become more connected with to be actually powerful. That is the one thing, to find an inner source of self-worth, because if you've done that, then you don't rely on anybody else to prove to you that that's true, because you know it. Then you can show up with your emotions, with your authenticity, with your conscious awareness, your mindfulness, your ability to see the whole big picture of your decisions, to be relatable to other people, to empower other people, and to be on equal levels with everybody else around you, to then begin to access a very, very deep source of power and truth that we are all way, way, way more similar than we are different. And if we allow ourselves to come into that space of being similar and being the same and being equal, then we all start to feel very, very powerful. And the person that can bring that into existence, to initiate that sense of equality, that sense of, we are equal, with an innate humbleness and knowing that they don't have all the answers, that they have emotions too, that they are just on the journey just like you, that's somebody that has true power. And somebody that comes to my mind that has that true power is Oprah Winfrey. She has a true sense of inner self-worth. She is relatable. People feel good and empowered within her presence. That is somebody who has accessed and lives what it truly means to be powerful. And I now feel compassion towards people that are putting on that sort of stoic, emotionless, disconnected, not being very mindful kind of mask of power, because I know deep inside they're hurting, because I've been there and I've been that person that's also wanted that because of the deep-rooted insecurity I felt within myself, okay? So coming all full circle here, true power means equality. Everyone feels good within your presence. No one feels beneath you, and you're not doing anything to try and be superior to them. You're just relating on an authentic level and sharing what you've learned through your experiences. Anything that increases separation makes the person faking power and the people beneath it feeling less than them weak. Separation makes us feel weaker. And the whole funny thing is that by the end of this, and the whole journey of coming into an inner sense of self-worth, the whole idea and reason maybe why you even clicked on this video of wanting to be powerful, that whole desire just goes away. You don't need it, because you don't need anybody else to validate your worth. That was a packed video. There is so much that I shared with you there that I have unfolded and practiced and contemplated within the past few years of my life, and that I still am doing to this day, and still coming into myself and practicing showing up as a source of authentically true power. And I wish the same for you. Please comment anything that you would like, any questions, and subscribe to my channel so together we can share these messages that can really help take the edge off and bring in some clarity and some light to each other and our world, because that's deeply, deeply my intention here. So thank you again so much for listening, and you are truly internally powerful being. You don't need anybody else to validate that for you. Let the discovery of your own inner sense of worth continue or begin. Thank you. Eyes of the Wheel.